A running shoe review with actual real life data. Now, this is going to be a super unpopular opinion. Welcome back to Kiwi's shoe review. Today, a shoe that you've probably seen a lot of already, the Vaporfly Next. First, before we get into the review, if you have enjoyed these so far, please subscribe to the channel, it really helps. And if you like this video, please like it at the end. Also, comment what you want to see next. Coming up soon, I'm going to have a review on what is potentially the best racing shoe for under 100 New Zealand dollars, so you don't want to miss that. And also some into what could be the first competitor for these and the Vaporfly. Firstly, we'll run through all the boring details that you probably already know, but I'll quickly go through them anyway. So we have ZoomX foam in the midsole here. We've got 40mm in the back and 32mm in the forefoot, creating an 8mm drop. Wedged in that ZoomX foam is a S-shaped... My apologies here. The S-shaped plate is actually in the Saucony Endorphin Pro, a shoe that I'm really keen to get my hands on soon. The Nike just has a kind of slight curve in their carbon plate. And then there is a little bit of rubber on the bottom, which you can see at the front here. There is some white rubber just at the back here, but otherwise this is all just exposed ZoomX foam. The upper is the Vaporweave material, which I actually really like. It's lightweight, breathable, obviously super kind of doesn't hold any water, so it means it stays light even if it's wet. And the kind of whole design and how it kind of fits your foot is really nice. Obviously I've got speed laces in here now, but when I had normal laces in there, I found that it really hugged my foot and did give a sock-like fit and felt like it was going to stay on your foot before you even did it up, which makes it awesome when you've got speed laces in there because they can be a little bit loose sometimes, but in this shoe I hadn't found that to be a problem at all. So that's a plus for all you triathletes out there that might want to use this shoe. In a men's size 10.5, it weighs around 200 grams, which is super lightweight for a shoe with such a big stack. That's credit to the very, very light ZoomX foam in here. At $250 US or 350 New Zealand dollars, which is what I paid for it, clearly quite an expensive shoe. So each to their own whether or not you can kind of warrant spending that much money on a running shoe. I can remember my initial impressions about this shoe because it is so strange, and without you having felt it yourself, you probably won't believe what I'm going to say. But it is so springy and responsive. Just standing and jumping in these shoes, you can feel how responsive that ZoomX foam is underfoot. Strangely, they feel, well, not strangely because there is nothing in the mid there, they feel super, super unstable, and you just want to roll in when you're standing around. But the cool thing is, and the surprising thing I guess, is that when you do start running, instantly it feels far more stable. And I can't really explain it, and again, not something that you're going to really understand until you've run it yourself, but they just become stable. I don't know if it's the geometry or the carbon plate or how they've done it, but they've done a good job of that. To that end, with the geometry, man, this shoe just makes you want to spring up onto your toes. If you're running at a kind of slower pace, it's not a shoe that's going to keep you there. It really does push you. The geometry, that carbon plate, like I say, just gets you up onto your toes or your midfoot and more onto your toes and really wants you to move fast. And it's not until you are kind of moving fast that the shoe really feels more natural underfoot and feels like something that you could just kind of run in and run fast in all day if you're ready for it. A running shoe review with actual real life data? That's right. I've got some data here from runs in this shoe and some runs in my previous racing shoes. So you get to have a quick look and a quick comparison. Just a caveat, it's not perfect, it's a small sample size, and it's only me. So you've just got to take it with a bit of a grain of salt, but it gives you a little bit of an insight into the differences that I found with this shoe. So here we have a quick breakdown of some data from 3 lactate threshold workouts I did down at the track. The first 2 in the Adidas Adizero Adios 4s, and the last one being in the Vaporfly Next %. So you can see in the first column was interval duration, the second being pace in seconds per kilometer, just as an easier breakdown, and then average heart rate. So the first workout was a 3 by 8 minute lactate session, the second was a 5 by 6 minute session, and the final a 5 by 5 minute session. So we can see if we just look at the averages to break it down. For the first one, it was 212, roughly 212 seconds per kilometre, and an average heart rate of just under 169 beats per minute. The second session was very similar, 212, with a average heart rate just over 169 beats per minute. And then in the Vaporfly, the breakdown was 206 seconds per kilometre for the same heart rate, 169, or slightly higher than the other two. Now, obviously not a perfect sample size because it is, only 3 sessions and it's just me and it's not controlled and there's different interval durations, but it's some interesting data. That 6-second difference for the same given heart rate is quite compelling. So as you can see there were some differences. Again, take it with a grain of salt, take it how you will, but I certainly found an improvement. And I know that a lot of other people out there, and a lot of the data does go to show that it seems to be a shoe that has slight performance increases for everyone. How will I use this shoe, or how have I used this shoe? So I've used this shoe in one Olympic distance triathlon, so a 10k run at the end, of which I actually set a 10k PB, which was extremely interesting because it wasn't a very fast course. It was quite undulating, so I don't know if it was because of the shoe or because I was in good shape. It was lead into Taupo, so it might have been that, but the shoe certainly did have, what I believe, had a kind of part to play in that performance. I then did wear the shoe at Taupo for the 70.3, so the half marathon at the end of a half Ironman, and it was great. I kind of blew up at the end, nothing to do with the shoe, but up until that point it was really good. Moving forward, I will not be using this shoe in marathons because I don't do marathons, so we'll take that off the table. I will, however, use it for pure half marathons. Half marathons at the end of a 17.3, I'm a little bit kind of unsure yet. I'll have to do some more thinking and some more experimenting to really decide. 10k road races, maybe. I do quite like a nice kind of low profile road feel, so we'll have to wait and see for that. But anything less than 10k, I would use a different shoe, something that does have that kind of flatter road feel. I just don't think that, especially if it's a technical course, this shoe kind of has the stability to do that. One reason why this shoe is so good for marathons, and then therefore why it might not be as useful for a 5k, I think, is the kind of energy savings that you get from this shoe. So I found it on some longer runs that I did. I did a couple of longer training runs beforehand with speed work and whatnot, and they really do keep your legs fresher for longer, which is exactly what you want in a marathon. In a 5k race, no racing shoe is going to keep your legs fresher for longer because you're in lactate and you're just dying the whole time. So it's not going to help you there. It'll help you in the sense that I think it will make you go a little bit quicker, but whether or not that's actually going to be more than a normal shoe, who knows? You'll have to kind of test that for yourself. But personally, I probably wouldn't use it for 5k racing. 10k is kind of that barrier where I'll start deciding. Now, this is going to be a super unpopular opinion, and it's not fully justified at this point, but it's just some thoughts on stuff that I've seen so far. So the Nike Alphafly is due to kind of be released to the public very soon. $275 I think is the price it's going to come out at, compared to $250, which is what this was. So it's only a little bit more, but again, it's pushing that kind of 400, I think even 450 New Zealand dollar mark, which is insane for a pair of running shoes. And if the price of these drop as well, maybe down to that, I don't know, $230, $220, even $200 US mark, making it about $250 maybe New Zealand, I would almost go to say that this is going to be worth it rather than the Alphafly. Now, like I say, very substantiated claims that I'm making here, but this shoe is so good that can you make a shoe that's that much better, $100, $150 better? I just don't know if it's going to necessarily be worth it. So personally, if the price does drop, I'm going to go and buy another pair of these. I do want to try the Alphaflies, but I think I just kind of want to have another pair of these in my arsenal for when these get worn out and I have a pair of shoes to use for racing. What don't I like about this shoe? Well, the price for one. $350 for a pair of running shoes is pretty extreme. Now, Nike kind of were really smart with that. They were the first ones to have such an expensive shoe that clearly did work. And so now the price of running shoes, and more in particular carbon plated running shoes, are kind of coming to a similar point, but it is still super expensive. When the Vaporfly comes out, are you going to buy the Vaporfly? Are you going to buy another pair of these, or buy your first pair of these when they come back on the market? Let me know down below what your kind of thoughts are, especially around that price point, and why maybe you want to go one way or the other. I was a pretty late adopter to it, purely because I was a little bit skeptical. My skepticism may be not warranted, but I was. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm wearing an Adidas kind of top here and have been a fan and raced in Adidas for a long time. So to actually step out and get a pair of these was a big move for me. But I did, and obviously it was worth it, but it was such a big price to pay. Now, that's probably changing, like I say, because everything else is becoming expensive now, but still something to think about. To that end, it's not a very resilient shoe. So I've run maybe 150 Ks in it, and I don't know if you can see there the kind of nicks in the shoe, and obviously the wear in the Zoom X foam at the bottom there. But when you're spending that kind of money, you want a shoe that lasts a bit longer. I would say you probably get best 300 Ks out of this shoe. It's still pretty stiff. It's nowhere near as stiff as it was when I first got it. You can kind of see some deformations in the Zoom X foam, which is normal, but still exists to mean that you're not going to get that same responsive feel that you did right out of the box. So if you have liked this review, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel so you can see more of what's coming soon. And like I say, there is some exciting stuff coming. So stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.